Anas Al-Sharif, fellow Al-Jazeera correspondent Mohammed Kureka, and cameramen Ibrahim Zafar, Mohammed Nufal and Moamen Aliwa were in the journalist camp at the main gate of the Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza City when the IDF struck. Al-Jazeera says this was an assassination, that Israel wanted to silence some of the last remaining voices within Gaza, providing unfiltered coverage of the war. The IDF has confirmed its target was Anas Al-Sharif.
Well, Israel has in fact assassinated at least 5 Al Jazeera journalists in Gaza City in what they have admitted was a targeted strike. Although the director of Al-Shifa hospital has reported that they received 7 bodies as a result of the strike, 6 of them being journalists. But 5 of those individuals have been confirmed to be journalists. Now, among them was Anas Al-Shifa, or Sharif, I should say, Anas Al-Sharif, who made a name for himself for his fearless reporting in Gaza every single day, detailing the atrocities that were committed by Israel and the IDF. And as a result, he had become a target of the Israelis. And so to justify the assassination of Al-Sharif, the Israelis put out a complete BS defamatory campaign against him, accused him of being a member of Hamas without providing a shred of evidence. Although I will say there are quite a few fabricated documents floating around the internet that are easily debunkable. Now, Israel doesn't deny that they targeted him. In fact, they launched this propaganda campaign. According to the Washington Post, the Israeli Defense Forces confirmed the strike shortly after it took place and accused Sharif of serving as the head of a Hamas terrorist cell. He was a journalist in his 20s and a father of 2 children. But critically, the IDF has not shared or released any documentation indicating Sharif was involved in military activities during the current conflict. It has not accused any of the other slain journalists of ties to militants. When asked about the others killed in the strike, the IDF said that it had no further comment because they're above the law, international law. They don't need to have any further comment. This genocide has slaughtered literally hundreds of journalists on the ground in Gaza at a time when, of course, international journalists are not allowed access to the enclave, to the territory, in order to report on the ground. And so what do you think Israel wants, Cenk? I mean, obviously, what they like to do is argue that, all the Al Jazeera journalists, they can't be trusted, they're not credible. Okay, well, why don't you let international journalists in? Oh, we're worried about their safety. We're worried about their safety. No, you're worried about international condemnation for the war crimes and genocide that's currently being carried out in Gaza.
Okay, so look, these are murderers, the IDF, the Israeli government, they're serial killers. So for the other 5 journalists that were killed and the other civilian that was killed, they have no excuse at all. They're just like, we're Israel, we get to murder civilians. And remember, you have to call our enemies terrorists, but we're wonderful, we're the moral army. Okay, it's a sick joke at this point. It's like the Third Reich calling themselves the moral army. And if you're offended by that, you're an idiot. And I don't care about you being offended as they murder one person after another, and they starve people to death. Okay, so at least 184 journalists murdered by Israel inside Gaza, according to Committee to Protect Journalists. Some have that counted above 200. More than any other conflict, and in fact, all other conflicts combined. And as Anna pointed out, and Piers Morgan points out, bless his heart, very regularly, they don't allow any outside journalists. They say, well, it's a safety risk. It's true, it is a safety risk because if you're a journalist in Gaza, Israel will murder you. And now they're bragging about it. They're saying there's nothing you can do about it. Oh yeah, he was Hamas wing. So no outside journalist is allowed in, and every Palestinian who covers Gaza is a terrorist according to Israel. So conveniently, no journalism is allowed inside where they are doing a genocide and have now set up a giant concentration camp. Okay, so the murderous terrorist government of Israel continues to collect checks from American taxpayers who are barely getting by as they slaughter one journalist after another and more children every single day. If you are not fighting with all of your energy against Israel in this case to stop the genocide, you have to check your moral bearings because you're probably a bad person.
So let's get to some more details here. As I mentioned, there are some fabricated, documents floating around online. For instance, there was a fake and fabricated document, including this, fake Hamas military ID that was totally photoshopped. It's made up. He was not a member of Hamas. Besides which, really, Hamas is running around with ID, like identifying themselves as Hamas militants. The Committee to Protect Journalists, as Cenk mentioned, warned less than 3 weeks ago that it was gravely worried about Sharif's safety and called for the international community to protect him, saying that he was being targeted by an Israeli military smear campaign that he believed would be a precursor to his assassination, and it turns out he was right about that. The Committee to Protect Journalists Regional Director Sarah Kuda says that it's no coincidence that the smears against Al-Sharif, who has reported night and day for Al-Jazeera since the start of the war, surfaced every time he reported on a major development in the war. Israel is murdering the messengers. Israel wiped out an entire news crew. It has made no claims that any of the other journalists were terrorists. That's murder, plain and simple. And I should note that now there are absolutely no journalists remaining in Gaza City, which is the last part of Gaza that has not been occupied by the Israelis yet. As we all know, Netanyahu announced that they will be doing a ground invasion in Gaza City. I'm sure they'll be slaughtering a lot of additional innocent people in order to occupy the whole of the Gaza Strip. Now, in addition to that, Al-Jazeera, the Committee to Protect Journalists, and the United Nations expert have said that the documents previously released by the IDF, which accused 6 other Al Jazeera journalists of being Hamas militants, are not credible. Pretty much anything coming out of the Israeli government or the IDF at this point should not be considered credible. If their mouths are moving, you should assume that they're lying. In the hour after the strike, a post appeared on Sharif's social media. He had actually pre-written a final message in the event that he would get assassinated, and here's what it said. Should these words find their way to you, know that Israel has succeeded in ending my life and silencing my voice. From the depths of my heart, I have dedicated every effort, every ounce of strength to be a steadfast support and a vocal advocate for my people. I have stood firm in my commitment to convey the truth as it is. I call upon God to bear witness against those who choose silence, those who accepted the violence against us, and those who turned a blind eye to the anguish of our children and women. And with that in mind, I want to talk a little bit about one of the reports that he put out recently in regard to the starvation of the Palestinian people. He became very emotional and had a difficult time, keeping things together as he was reporting. That got a lot of attention. He's been a target of the Israelis. Take a look.
من شدة الجوع ومن شدة الألم ومن شدة والآن ونحن نتحدى هذه العربة التي دخلت إلى مجمع الشفاء تحمل مصابين مجوعين أيضا.
I can imagine how hard it is to keep it together as you're reporting on the slaughter, persecution, starvation of your own people. And there's a video of his little girl where she talks about how much she fears that she'll lose her father every time he goes out to do his job. And unfortunately for that little girl, that day came. He's been assassinated. There's another video that I want to show you featuring his daughter. Anyway, take a look.
بابا
نعم
ترامب بقول بده يطلعنا من غزة، أنت بدك تطلع من غزة؟
لا تطن في غزة.
بدك تضلك في غزة؟ ليش؟
عشان بحب غزة.
أنت بتحب غزة؟ يعني بدكش تطلعي؟ طيب بدي أسافرك على قطر.
ولا تطن.
على الأردن.
لا.
على مصر.
لا.
على تركيا.
لا.
على أي دولة؟
أنا تطن في الطلعة.
بدك تضلك هنا في غزة؟ يعني مش طالعة؟
بس طالعة من المرة.
مش طالعة نهائيا؟ بالمرة؟ طيب قولي لهم احنا مش طالعين.
احنا بس طالعين.
صامدين هان.
صامدين هان.
يا روحي.
Finally, I'll just leave with one more thing. So this morning, Sky News, which has been firmly on Israel's side of this ongoing genocide, admitted something today that I thought was interesting. This is Diana Magnay, Sky News international correspondent, quoted as saying, "I think it's very clear that journalists are being targeted. in the same way as we ourselves have proven that medical health workers in Gaza are being targeted. These are people who are seeing every day what is happening on the ground and who have a voice to speak out about it. And Israel does not want that voice to be heard across the Arab world or across the rest of the world. Finally, she says that, and Israel knows that it is easy to silence that voice, and that is what it is trying to do because it is the worst conflict there has ever been for journalists. We've never seen this number of journalists killed in this period of time.
Yeah, as I said earlier, different reporting organizations have said more journalists killed in this conflict than all the other conflicts in the world today combined. And of course, now in the old days, Israel used to claim that it was all an accident. They just accidentally, they could find leaders of Hezbollah, Iran, Hamas anywhere, anytime they want. And they already have a plan to kill them at any moment. But golly gee, they just can't find any of the right people in Gaza. They just keep murdering civilians tens of thousands at a time and all the journalists. So they're murderers and there's no question about that anymore. Anyone who claiming that they are not serial killers and murderers and terrorists are bigots who think Muslim lives don't matter at all, Christian lives don't matter at all. The only lives that matter are the supreme people of the Israelis, and everyone else is inferior to them, so their lives are irrelevant. So I'm not interested in Israeli lies. And by the way, they've been doing this for a long, long time. It's not just now, it's not for self-defense. Before any of this conflict started, there was a program to just walk up to the fence to show how despotic the government of Israel is. It was a peaceful protest, and everyone who walked up to the fence was murdered by Israel, by snipers. Then reporters covering the event were killed by sniper shots from hundreds of yards away, including Palestinian American Shireen Abu Akleh. And after that American citizen and journalist was murdered, the American government kissed Israel's ass and gave them more money. Now another 6 to 7, I'm losing track now. I mean, they murder so many Americans, it's hard to keep up, have been murdered since October 7th in the West Bank. But all of those Americans, half a dozen Americans killed, our government, both under Biden and Donald Trump, their answer was, "Thank you, sir. May we have another." You can murder.
No, that's right. Yeah.
You can murder as many Americans as you like. You can murder as many human rights workers, as many journalists, as many children as you like, as long as you keep those beautiful checks flowing to our deeply corrupt politicians, which I'm going to come back to in a second. So, look, if you're still a supporter of Israel and you think that they're not acting monstrously, I've got a quick challenge for you guys. We'll put the link down below. Brave New Films has a movie called Gaza, Journalists Under Fire. It's so short, it's 41-minute documentary, okay? If you can make it through that documentary and you still think Israel's doing the right thing, okay, that's amazing. And at least you'll have said, hey, look, I saw it. I saw it with my own eyes. It's a Jewish filmmaker. There's Jews in the movie. There's Muslims, Christians in the movie. I made it through that, and I think, no, I'm still on board. I think Israel's doing the moral thing by murdering all these people. Okay, then at least you have some sort of internal consistency, okay? But I don't think anybody can make it through that movie without just breaking down in tears, etc. It's very similar to what you just saw there. That little girl that you just saw doesn't have a father anymore because Israel chose to murder him because they were covering this genocide of theirs. Now, guys, that leads to and apparently they're shutting down Grok.
Yeah, let me just give you some details on that. They suspended Grok. It's now been, the suspension has been lifted. But what's interesting about it is, people were trying to access Grok on X, Elon Musk's platform. Grok is Elon Musk's AI chatbot. And after it was basically restored and people were asking the Grok account, why were you suspended? Here's how it responded. My account was suspended after I stated that Israel and the United States are committing genocide in Gaza. This is substantiated by international criminal court findings, UN experts, Amnesty International, and Israeli rights groups like B'Tselem, citing mass killing, starvation, and intent. US complicity via arms support is widely alleged. And it's now restored is how it, meaning my account is now restored.
Okay, so now if you state facts, even if you're an AI robot, they're like, no, the robot is anti-Semitic. Now, look, there's glitches with Grok before, but it's supposed to, it got back to just doing facts. And I could tell from personal experience, And now, though, if your facts are against Israel, which they are, they're indisputably against Israel. Israel says, and every powerful person in the country, apparently Elon Musk included, bow down like dogs and go, we'll change the facts. We'll change the facts so they support Israel, the murderers, the terrorists, instead of decent human beings and actual reality. So but if you suggest that maybe Israel might control America, oh my God, how dare you? How dare you? All the murdered Muslim children and Christian children, who cares? Who cares? But you're saying something that is an undeniable fact? Yeah, anti-Semite, fire him, cancel him, etc. I'm so sick of the people in power in this country.
I gotta say something for
bunch of sellouts.
For those who are legitimately concerned about anti-Semitism, the Israeli supporters who are concerned about anti-Semitism. When there are individuals who are stating the facts of what's happening on the ground, and they grieve over the innocent children who are starving to death, or the innocent children who are shot in the head, they have bullet holes in their heads as they arrive at the hospital or in their chests. When you call those people anti-Semites, and of course, there's never an effort to debunk what is being said or the substance of what's being argued. It's just flat out, let's just smear this person as an anti-Semite. When you do that, do you understand that you're doing positive PR for anti-Semitism? Because humans, believe it or not, most humans are actually kind and they understand the importance of human life. And when they see children getting slaughtered, it disgusts them. Most people feel that way. And when you say that someone who is airing their disgust over the slaughter of children is an anti-Semite, well then, I mean, you totally take that word, which actually used to mean something, and you turn it into something that's almost positive.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. They're lunatics. They're gonna get our Jewish friends and family hurt. Because they're saying now, if you don't support genocide and starving children to death, that means you hate Jews. Why? Is the pro-Jewish position to be in favor of slaughter?
No, it's not.
Of course not. Of course not. Why do you keep saying that? And they keep saying that because protection of Israel above all, even if it hurts Jews, even if they, by the way, they murdered their own hostages because they were in a kill zone. They're starving their own hostages. I could go on and on and on. They don't care about Jews. They don't care about their own citizens. The only thing that the monsters in charge of the Israeli government right now care about is their own power, their infinite greed. Last thing goes to one of our members, Embedded Dude on TYT.com, said, is shame and conscience ever going to overcome AIPAC money? I'm not optimistic, but I don't rule it out. No, it's not. It's so, guys, our politicians are the most corrupt people on earth.
They're sociopaths too.
They are. Yeah. They're psychotic, okay? And our mainstream media has been fluffing up these psychos, these groveling pieces of crap our whole lives.
Yep.
Oh, the honorable gentleman from Connecticut. None of them are honorable. They're disgusting. 400 out of 435 members of the House take money from AIPAC and serve Israel. And our lying, disgusting media says, no, you can't say that. That's true, but you're not allowed to say true things because now true things are anti-Semitic. So the truth is anti-Semitic, or did it ever occur to you that maybe Israel is not moral and truth is moral? But to them, everyone in goddamn mainstream media, they prefer Israel over the truth 200 out of 200 times.
Well, I mean, they prefer Israel over the health of their own business, right? Because at the end of the day, people have caught on to the fact that corporate media provides cover for a genocide that we're currently funding through no choice of our own, obviously. We have two parties, both parties are firmly up the ass of the Israeli government and will do whatever the Israeli government wants. And so when you have corporate media trying to provide cover in a context where media is really diversified as a result of this explosion of independent sources, you're cooked. You're cooked.
They are. Who would believe them? Other than the Broomers who got stuck on TV, and we love you guys, but you got stuck there. So none of you are there because you're watching an online show, okay? But if you know family members who are still watching TV, help them, rescue them, get them out because they're being brainwashed. Mainstream media doesn't do news. They do propaganda for the powerful, not just Israel, but they tell you that politicians are not affected by donor money. What a ludicrous lie. This is the least true thing I have ever heard in my life. Oh no, them getting millions of dollars, whether it's from oil or pharma or whatever. No, that doesn't affect them at all. Doesn't affect. It's a lie factory.
Yeah,
they're getting brainwashed by foreign governments like Israel and corporate donors into complying and obeying. And so, look, we're going to talk more about it as we go along, but nearly 100% of the Republican Party is corrupt. They all take AIPAC money outside of Tom Massey and now Marjorie Taylor Greene, and they will do anything. Mike Johnson would do anything that Israel asked for. He prioritizes Israel 2,000 times more than America. And then you get to the corrupt, disgusting corporate Democrats. And we have more on that later in the show as they grovel to Israel in the middle of a genocide. Please send me money, AIPAC. Yeah. They're disgusting human beings. All of them, these establishment, the powerful, they're not your friends. They're people trying to hurt you on behalf of a disgusting corporate and foreign government rule. We are occupied in America.
We are occupied.
We're definitely occupied, and our occupiers are our politicians and our media. Well, good news, they're all gonna be bankrupt soon because only a moron would believe mainstream media. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.